Hey, I'm live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube and around the world here. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 14 minutes or 15 minutes or so. Just getting everything lined up here for the live show. Getting everything good to go. There we go. Hey, download. Waylon, good morning. I got to get up in that area. What the heck is going on here? Thanks for the text message update, Waylon. Appreciate that. Morning, Karen. Hope you had a good weekend off last weekend. I got a lot of stuff going on next week, 2 weeks. Yeah, sucks. I got an idea for like a nonprofit thing that I've been wanting to do for like 12 years now. And everything that I'm trying to do, it's like I can't get, you have to have insurance coverage and nobody wants to cover it. And it's like you try to do something good for the community and just legally you can't do it without somebody wanting to sue you for some reason. So stupid. Morning, Josh. One shot cap. Good morning. Dan, good morning. Dave, morning. Hope everything in Minnesota is all just dandy. Did you open up your daycare center over there yet or what? Uh-huh. Governor's on yet there, buddy. Not calling him until I absolutely need to. Yowza. That stuff just didn't get any better tasting over the years. Really didn't. Gene, morning. Mundo. You opened up 2 daycare centers. Good. Well, I hope you get all that funding you need. Sneak a little bit my way if you can. Eric Sabowzik. I want him from the garage. Smells like 85. Did you? Oh, you had your car running? Okay. I was talking. I do a radio show for stations in Montana, and I was talking the other morning about I played a song about something about cars or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I was like, if you had like a chance, right? If you had the money, what would be your top car, your top pickup, your whatever, right? And I had a 1970 Chevelle in high school that I wrecked at prom. And I'd like to get a 1970 Chevelle built up. And for some reason, I have this thing for a 1934 Ford 3-window coupes, not the 5-window, just the 3 windows. If I had cars to choose from, it'd be one of those two. So if you see any of those two around, a 70 Chevelle or a 34 Ford coupe, let me know. I mean, reasonably priced. I'd still like it to drive and run. It doesn't have to look perfect, but I'd like it to run and be halfway safe. Morning, Brian. Apple flavored pea. Yeah, I stopped mixing with whiskey because I stopped drinking whiskey, and especially at Saturday mornings, right? Mike, good morning. Both awesome choice. Oh, thank you, man. So the only difference on the Chevelle, I think that people would say probably not an awesome choice, is I had a Chevelle Malibu, which had the bench seat. Okay. And I still want that. One of the reasons why I rolled the car, but I still want the bench seat. Yeah. The 70 Nova. Probably go with the 383 stroker. Yeah. I'm not looking, I would love. So if I had my choice, what engine was in the 70 Chevelle? It was a 350. Okay. Just a standard 350 is what it was. 2-barrel. Didn't have the 4. But I wouldn't change much on the 70 Chevelle. I'd still stick with the 350. I'd probably go with the 4 barrel and maybe some headers or something like that to make it a little bit more exciting. I always liked the 350. I just like the way it sounded. I don't need that much power to go crazy. Now, if I could afford it, I'd drop an LS in it. All right. I would. I'd go fuel injected all the way just because of our winters in here. And I'm not going to, this isn't going to be something like it only gets pulled out once a year. I'd be driving that baby as much as I can. Now, on the 34, if I could put something in that, if I could like have my dream vehicle with a big souped up motor, I'd probably put it in that more so than the Chevelle, because the Chevelle would be more of a regular driving one. And the coupe would be like cool Deadwood Nights type stuff like that. I'm not into the, I'd love to race, but I just would have to learn more about it. 71 Torino GT got started using it. 351 Cleveland, a bit touched up. Yeah. So 351, we had a pickup growing up. It had a 351. Was it Windsor? Was there a Windsor too? I can't remember. Wayno, good morning. 75 Nova and super basic patch, 400 small block, yeah. Ivermectin with Mountain Dew. Probably good. I haven't had that no. Yeah, there was a Windsor, but smaller. Okay. That's what I thought. I know that there was 351. They had a few different styles ones in there. You guys remember on public radio years ago, they quit doing this like a handful of years ago. There was a Car Talk. It was Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers, 2 guys out of Boston. And all they did was sit and joke and talk motors and cars and whatever. I would love to do that with my minimal knowledge of vehicles. Like, I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I love talking about vehicles, especially old school stuff. I say old school stuff I grew up with, which at that time was still pretty old. Yeah, high school car is a 77 Nova, 250 inline 6 4-door, not a muscle car, no. My buddy Shannon had a car. He called it the Indian. Waylon, you remember what that old white car was that he had? Waylon, what the heck do you had a green car? Yeah, a 72 Ford Grand Torino. That's right. I knew you had it. Yeah. And then Justin had a Torino. Ron Yoakum had a Monte Carlo. I'm sorry, stations. I forgot to give your countdown. When we were going to high school, we had some pretty, our parking lot looked pretty damn cool. Like they weren't all fixed up, like super hot rodded out or nothing, but we had some pretty cool classic cars back then. All right, stations 7 o'clock and 30 seconds, 8 o'clock, 30 seconds coming up here on Mark. Okay. All right, stop talking about vehicles. I got to call the governor. Let's see, there's his number. Okay. Got to be professional now. Jesus.
Hello.
Mr. Governor, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good. We are live on YouTube for the first few minutes before we start the radio side. So just a heads up for you. So I know this isn't before I start the radio program, I'm talking with all my YouTube subscribers. What was your high school hot rod car, or what would it be? Like, when I was just talking to like a few people here when I was going to high school, our parking lot looked really, really cool with some of the vehicles that were in it. We had like Torinos, Chevelles, Monte Carlos. How about when you went to school?
Well, my dad had a 55 T-Bird.
Nice.
Which was always pretty cool. I liked that car just because he had it. It was a convertible. I think it mostly goes into parades. But for the most part, I'm trying to think of who had the coolest car in high school. There was one buddy with a really cool Charger. I'm not the biggest car guy.
Yeah.
My dream car, like in that world, is a '69 Lincoln Continental. I don't like the convertible. I want the hardtop with the suicide doors.
I'm with you. I just did that on a radio show before too. Convertibles, I never really got my goat, but hardtops over convertibles all day long.
My buddy's got like a 1979 Cadillac with a two-door that has to be like 37 feet long. That's got the V8 in it, and I think it takes a week and a half to take a right turn, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, those big cars. And I remember jumping in with Dan and Don Miller running out to a rodeo in Cheney, Washington, and it was in a Cadillac, and that thing, it was just giant. We had like 8 people in the thing, and there was still room. And I mean, the good old days. Yeah, I think we had there was 2 guys that had Torinos when I went to high school. I had a Chevelle. We had Monte Carlos. We had a couple people had some pretty sweet pickups in there. But yeah. They don't make them like they used to, Governor.
Somebody in my high school drove a really cool El Camino, and I have no idea who it was.
Yeah, El Camino, and I like the Ranchero. I like the Ford version of those better. They just had a little bit more style to them, a little bit more length and wings to them. Josh says, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I got to drive them. I had an old 3/4 ton Suburban that was my dad's hunting rig that I drove to high school. That was my first car. And that was a really big misstep for my dad because we could fit a lot of people in that thing. A lot.
Where did you go graduate Richardson?
Dickinson High.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple of their big cars are like riding a lazy boy chair down the highway. They are.
Yeah, I mean, driving from like basically Montana to Fargo and those things is great. Actually, everybody has different relationships with the vehicles. I never bought a new car until I became the state party chair, and then I bought a brand new Ford Expedition, and I just was on the road so much. I'm like, I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to be absolutely comfortable. So.
Yeah, those Expeditions and even the Chevy Suburbans, man, they are nice vehicles, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we got a plethora of things to talk about here, so I'm going to be all over the page, as you know.
Sure.
I mean, that's just what we do here. But
yeah.
Some people are the old red El Camino. Yeah.
This one was like a brown gold. It was really cool. I didn't know how cool it was then. I think it was a lot cooler now than I did when I was in high school.
I always tell my wife I'm going to get an El Camino and get a 1-horse stock trailer and pull it around the brandings. She says that if I have an El Camino in the yard, she's leaving for good. So there you go. All right, Governor, we have about 40 seconds here to showtime. And so I mean, you've been on with me before. You kind of know we got a break at 15 after and 30 after. That's a 5-minute break, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to turn you down here. I'll do a little countdown here for the stations. 20 seconds of showtime. 20 seconds coming up on Mark. 20 seconds. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Heard all across the countryside here, especially in the Dakotas, all the way from Pierre, South Dakota, KGFX, KOLY in Mobridge, K-Fire 550 Bismarck, Mandan, KCJB in Minot, and, of course, KLTC, the Western Edge in Dickinson. Good to have you along here this morning as we bring you one of the things I'm going to tell. So I've had, so my guest is Governor Kelly Armstrong. Good morning, Governor. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Scott.
So I have put in requests I've been doing this show 20 years. And over the 20 years in North and South Dakota, I put in requests for every governor that's been run through the system. And yeah, and you and I had a relationship before you went into the federal side here and into the being a governor. I've had you on my program, but I appreciate you answering and coming on to the program here. And I'm not giving up. I talked to Larry Roden down in the stock show. I know Dusty Johnson. I'm going to try to get those guys. So here's my first question out here for our South Dakota listeners this morning. There's a big race for the governor of South Dakota. What's your take on it? Who do you think is going to be the front runner going into that race?
I don't know. They got a four-way primary down there. I think politics is always interesting. I obviously served with Dusty for 6 years in Congress. He's one of my best friends, but Larry just got through a really good, I think, legislative session. And then I got to be honest, I know one of the guys is Speaker of the House. I know one guy is business guy from Sioux Falls. Yeah. So, I just have personal relationships with Dusty and Larry, and I really like both of them. But we keep busy enough with politics on the north side of the border.
Yeah, I know. I like to bring that up because I was sitting at a NTC conference out in Florida here a few weeks back, and sitting with a few guys from the South Dakota side. And they were talking about it, and I was the same way. I know Dusty, I know Larry, but I don't know the other two gentlemen. They said kind of the same thing. They kind of knew him because one guy was from Sioux Falls, so he kind of heard of the other folks. But I was just getting the other governors up. Because when it comes to the football games, don't you guys do the bet back and forth between North Dakota, South Dakota?
So we've done a couple of those. They're kind of fun, but they're also at the same time, it's a little different. So like when USD played NDSU, Dusty and I did something because he went to South Dakota State and I went to UND. So we kind of had a little bit of fun with it that way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to, again, if they're listening, or maybe their people are listening here, we'll get one of those guys on here. And I'll keep reaching out to you, South Dakota. I'll keep reaching out. So, well, Governor, I tell you what here, last year we had just a bang up year for moisture across the state after 3 years of drought. And I tell you what, it really, really helped not only the grass grow across the prairies here, it just seemed like it was a refresh for a lot of the wildlife in the area. And I don't know if you've seen that same thing or what have you been hearing, because I know you're busy, you travel around a lot, but it just seemed like a nice little refresh last year.
Yeah, I think everything is, that in a couple years and we're going to have another one without real hard winter, right?
Yeah.
We have good moisture. There's always drought somewhere in North Dakota. That's the cost of doing business in North Dakota, but particularly pheasants and grouse grouse are a little weirder on cycles, but we saw as many partridge and pheasants as we've seen on our place in the last, for over a decade. And my friends down southwest North Dakota, it's as good as pheasants has been since the height of the boom. We saw a lot of young deer, saw a lot of twins this year. So knock on wood, I think we're working our way into, one of those good cycles in wildlife again.
Yeah. When you talk about grouse numbers, that's what we primarily have here where I live. And most grouse I've seen. The partridge in certain areas are coming back really nice, but we had EHD across here in this area about 5 years ago. And the deer numbers are slowly starting to finally come back a little bit now. And it seems like there's pockets across the state that there was good deer numbers, and some places there were pretty low deer numbers. And it's nice to see this area starting to climb back up. I don't know. What have you heard across the rest of the area?
Yeah, I think that's right. When you got river bottoms and you got stuff. So our place is 6 miles south of Richardson. So we had EHD 2 years in a row, but we didn't have it really bad. It wasn't like in Burley where it wiped out the whole herd.
Yeah.
So I think it's, if you got good winter habitat, you got good food, you got good structure, I think you have a lot of that going up. Our grouse now, we had as many partridge as I've seen ever, but our grouse numbers were actually way better 2 years ago than they were last year. And I don't understand that bird. I don't know if they get the flu or I just don't. I love to hunt them, but I don't understand, because usually on our place, grouse and partridge are, they correlate pretty well, and they didn't this year. We had way more partridge and way less grouse.
Which is kind of nice. Growing up, your full day limit was pheasant, grouse, and partridge, and now people go out and they get their 3 pheasant here in the state, and they're done for the day. I want to go after those other birds too. Now, I don't really care for the taste of grouse or partridge as I do pheasant, but I guess I still like going after them.
And I'm the other way. I'd rather eat grouse than partridge, or I'd rather eat grouse than pheasant. And
really?
I think one of the couple things with the grouse and the partridge. I think 2 things. One, pointing dogs help. A good pointing dog helps for grouse and partridge.
Yeah.
And 2, I think most of the places where you have a really good shot. I mean, at least when I was growing up down by like Davis Dam and Amadon in that area, the places where you have the really good shot or the best shot of shooting a 3-bird limit, the pheasants were, people like to go where there's lots of pheasants. I like to go where there's lots of grouse and partridge and then pick up 3 pheasants.
That's true. Yeah, that's about as many grouse or pheasant we have here on the ranch is about 3 of them I've seen. I was down south of Scranton yesterday. Holy moly, the pheasant down there. There's a lot of unharvested corn still. And man, the pheasants thick down that way.
Well, unharvested corn is a pretty good thing for pheasants to get through. I mean, I know it wasn't a bad winter, but it's still a North Dakota winter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think it's over yet, Governor. I mean, yeah, a couple 70-degree days here the last couple of days, but according to the old-time almanac, these fog days, it might show that we might get something at the end of the month here that might still be winterish.
Well, I'm okay with that. We could use the moisture. When you're talking wildlife, it's that freezing rain stuff that can cause a bunch of problems. But, we just sent some firefighter resources down to Nebraska because they've got some real bad fires. So if we can, both for the egg guys and for the fire danger, we get a bunch more moisture between now and May 1st. You're not going to hear me complain about it.
What, that's such a big one. Almost 600,000 acres in Nebraska right now. And that's just one giant fire. What, we'll save this for that. We're up against really close to a break here, but it is just sad to see. And even Montana now, there's over 8,000 acres been burnt up in Montana. And South Dakota, down by the Custer area, they've been having a big fire down in that neck of the woods too. So we'll talk more about that. Governor, if you stay with me here, we're up against our first break here. If you have questions or comments for Governor Armstrong, I am live chatting on my YouTube channel right now, Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. I got a few questions coming up there. If you'd like to call in, 888-9-DAKOTA, that's 888-932-5682. You automatically put on hold and we'll get to your questions as soon as we can. Or you can text them to me as well. 701-425-6651 is my phone number. We'll be back with more Governor Armstrong right here on Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing because we understand the business of creating relationships is more than an interest rate. Agriculture is a foundation to the community, and we are here to help your operation expand, grow, and continue to the next generation. Talk to our ag lending team today.
Community looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Motrest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
Piper's Auctioneers has your equipment needs covered this spring with Piper's exclusive equipment auctions across the upper Midwest, including Piper's regional equipment auctions in Bowman, Steele, Devils Lake, and Sioux Falls, alongside an incredible line of farm and ranch retirement auctions near Fergus Falls, Minnesota, and Halliday and Judd, North Dakota. And Piper's Premier Auctions, featuring the Tim Olson Construction Business Retirement Auction near Buffalo, South Dakota. For full inventory details and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the region, log on to pipers.com.
Hey everybody, this is Riley Schreifer from Schreifer Red Angus. We would like to extend a big heartfelt thank you to all our family, friends, neighbors, and customers that helped make this past year a success. We here at Schreifer Red Angus are praying that each and every one of you has a safe and healthy calving season, timely spring rains, and a good start to all the hay crop for this year. If you're ever in our area and want to stop and go through the cows, our door is always open and you are more than welcome to swing in for a visit. Have a safe and blessed spring from Schreifer Red Angus.
Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran-owned and operated. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors, a Saturday edition. Good to have you along across the Dakota Territory and around the world on my YouTube channel as well. Governor Kelly Armstrong from North Dakota here is my guest this morning. And Governor, we got a couple questions for you. I don't know if you're ready to take a few here before we jump into the Legacy Soil Health Program, but I'd like to open it up to folks if they do have questions, or if you're ready, I'll throw one at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like the governor to remove the 2 fish fillet equal 1 fish rule from the game and fish rules.
I'm not entirely sure what that rule is, but we could sure look at it.
Yeah. So
I'm not a big fisherman. I go fishing with my dad after he's caught them for like 3 days. I started hunting Labor Day and quit after New Year's, so I figured not fishing is a good way to still stay married.
Well, here's what it used to be. If you filleted your walleye, so you caught one fish, you filleted one side out, and then you I call it zipping them, which means you pull out the little bones and everything, and it makes it into 2 pieces. So if you do that for one fish, excuse me, you're going to have 4 pieces.
4 pieces.
And according to and it was nice to do that at the fish cleaning stations. That way you could leave all the junk out there.
But now if you do that, that is considered like 2 fish. And
so you have four fillets off of one fish.
correct.
So your possession limit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the answer I don't know enough to say it. I mean I mean if it's one fish, it's one fish. I mean the limits are set are for a reason. How many fish you can have, possession limit, all of that. I would have to ask my guys why that becomes an enforcement issue.
Right.
But I mean, none of these rules aren't supposed to be ticky tacky. I know a lot of them get ticky tacky. It's one of the things I want to change, but they're really just designed to make sure that people, like, if you can have 3 roosters. That means, and you have to identify them. And however we do that the warden knows that it's easy for the warden to check when people get, checked at a fish station or whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I mean, there's arguments on this going, well, if you've ever fished before, which I do once a year, and even I know what it looks like to be anyway. So that's one thing. And they would appreciate if you looked into it and, see where it goes from there. All right. So we want to talk about the Governor's Legacy Soil Health and Habitat Program. It's something that you came out with here, and explain a little bit about what this program is.
Well, it's a pilot program at 10,000 acres. We've got a lot of interest in it. Right away when I got sworn into, I think, Scott, you know this. I mean, this is my favorite hobby in the world. It's why I love North Dakota. I tell people North Dakota might not be the best at anything, but we're the best at everything. Grouse, partridge, pheasant, ducks, geese, dark geese, light geese, whitetail, mule deer, pronghorn are coming back, all of it. So, but since we started losing a bunch of acreage out of CRP, and, farming practices have gotten a lot better, from no-till to all of that. Commodity prices are down, inputs are up. Farmers, ranchers got to make money. We want them to make money. We want them to make enough money so they can pass a successful business on to the next generation of farmers and ranchers. So I think one of the problems with habitat programs or wildlife programs is we always start with the wildlife groups, which is fine, other than North Dakota's 93% plus private land.
Right.
Any kind of habitat program we have in North Dakota has to be liked and by private property owners. Ranchers and farmers have to like the program. They want to participate in the program. So we started this with talking to farmers and ranchers. What can we put together that you guys would utilize to put marginal acreage into habitat? And this isn't going to replace CRP. The state doesn't have the money as CRP. We're not going to put 3 sections in a row into grass.
Right.
But this is for that 18, 20 acres at the end of drainage that comes into your cornfield, and every other year your tractor gets stuck in there, and the inputs are and then you get marginal production off it. I want to turn that 20 acres into habitat. Mm-hmm. And I want to pay the landowner to do that. And that's where that's nesting cover. That's a prairie pothole cover. So we work, and then it should lower your crop insurance because you're taking that marginal acreage out, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to figure out a way to get the farmers and ranchers whole on those 20 acres and get a good cover crop in there. And one of the reasons we started it small is because we had to go ask the Outdoor Heritage Fund for some money, and we wanted to do it. The other reason is because we want to be able to put this pilot program in place, and then we want to talk to the people who participate in it, and then it's small enough where we can change it if something didn't work exactly how we intended it to. So we're really excited about it. 10,000 acres isn't going to change the dynamic, but if we get it done well and the farmers and the ranchers like it, we have the ability to scale this up. We think there's over 500,000 acres of private land that we could try and get into this program if we develop it in a way that the landowners want to use it.
And you're doing it without a lot of these programs are scary sometimes because they see the funding from some programs coming from the Sierra Club or HSUS has a hand in, or the Audubon Society, or, some places where farmers and ranchers really don't trust those groups, but you see the
Correct.
money coming in. So you're saying this funding is from 100% state funding.
Yes, no
Okay.
federal funding. There's some ways in which I've talked to the senators about it and stuff, but I'm very cognizant of making sure that we develop a program, and we're running it through the Game and Fish and through the soil conservation districts with people who hopefully our landowners have in each geographic area of the state. I mean, that's the other thing. You can do this anywhere in the state. We aren't concentrating in the Southwest or the Northeast or anything, but we want to make sure that it's flexible enough that farmers and ranchers don't have to get locked into it for time immemorial. And also that that it's user friendly for the producers.
Now, is this just for farm ground, cropland that is, like you said, marginal, or is any pasture ground?
My guess, I don't want to say 100%, but my guess is this will almost all be cropland the first time.
Sure.
And because I think the pasture stuff gets a little more interesting. When do you do rotational grazing? What time do you, I would like to develop it. I want all uses to be able to create habitat if that's what the rancher or the farmer wants to do. It's just, you and I both know cows are a little different than corn stalks. Yeah. I know how to do it in the stubble field. I want to make sure we get it right before we expand it into pasture as well.
Yeah. Now, you remember through the 80s, CRP was started out because there was a lot of different farming techniques back then. Everybody turned to dirt over. Farming tactics have definitely changed. And you're not looking at taking thousands and thousands of acres out of production, because you always have those folks that are going to say, well, why would you take productive land out of production, for raising food for families or for the world for that matter? But you're looking at marginal, not really high productive ground.
Well, first of all, anybody listening, I can tell you, we don't have enough money to take the state of North Dakota. For as much as I love to hunt and fish, we don't have enough actual dollars to take thousands and thousands of acres in every county out of production. No, we can't scale up a state version of a federal CRP program. We just can't. And you're right? We all talk about CRP for pheasants and whitetails, but CRP was designed to take marginal farmland out of production.
Right.
It was just, we didn't have 90-day corn down by Reeder when I was growing up, and they wanted to take wheat acreage out of wheat so they could the commodity price would go up. It turned out that it was really good for grouse and pheasant and deer, and I don't think it was that great for partridge. I have a theory that partridge are coming back because more and more CRP is coming out, but that's a longer story for a different time.
and I have some other things. We have some questions coming in, Governor, but we're up against our half-hour break, so we'll hold those for the second half. If you have questions or comments about this, which we have some coming in here, feel free. Governor, stay with me here. We'll take a short break. Remember, if you need to get any questions here, you can text them 701-425-6651. I'm live chatting on my YouTube channel, and our toll-free number, if you want to call and talk to the governor, is 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. We'll be back with more from Governor Armstrong here on Dakota Prairie Outdoors right after these messages.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing because we understand the business of creating relationships is more than an interest rate. Agriculture is a foundation to the community, and we are here to help your operation expand, grow, and continue to the next generation. Talk to our ag lending team today.
Community looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, BowmanLivestockMarketing.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
Piper's Auctioneers has your equipment needs covered this spring with Piper's exclusive equipment auctions across the upper Midwest, including Piper's regional equipment auctions in Bowman, Steele, Devils Lake, and Sioux Falls, alongside an incredible line of farm and ranch retirement auctions near Fergus Falls, Minnesota, and Halliday and Judd, North Dakota. And Piper's Premier Auctions, featuring the Tim Olson Construction Business Retirement Auction near Buffalo, South Dakota. For full inventory details and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the region, log on to pipers.com.
Hey everybody, this is Riley Schreifer from Schreifer Red Angus. We would like to extend a big heartfelt thank you to all our family, friends, neighbors, and customers that helped make this past year a success. We here at Schreifer Red Angus are praying that each and every one of you has a safe and healthy calving season, timely spring rains, and a good start to all the hay crop for this year. If you're ever in our area and want to stop and go through the cows, our door is always open and you are more than welcome to swing in for a visit. Have a safe and blessed spring from Schreifer Red Angus.
Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance, offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Hopefully you catch my daily program on each one of these stations each and every day. Well, Governor Armstrong out of North Dakota is my guest here today. Governor, going into the second half of the program, we were discussing your Legacy Soil Health and Habitat program. And if folks are interested in this, they can contact our Soil Conservation District to enroll. It's called the Legacy Program. Questions coming in is, so the first one is talking about access and how is this different than CRP? I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, one, it's different than CRP in that we're going to run it and we're going to allow flexibility with landowners. I think the term is 5 years, and you get to enroll the acreage. But the other answer is, and this is, I mean, I think people just go to what they know. I mean, this is never envisioned to be like a whole quarter section, right? This,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
how I look at this, I mean, there may be some people who want to do that, but I'm not sure we can scale it up. But I look at it as where I shoot birds, right? Where I shoot, I mean, there are every farmer's got a piece of dirt that there is somewhere between 5 or 35 acres that's marginal production. It could have high saline. It could be at the end of a cattail slough. You know, it could be in a dip right by a corner section. I want that's the acreage I want. I want that 20-acre piece that your inputs are higher than what you get out of it, but you farm it anyway because there's no reason not to. I want to lower your crop insurance because you're taking marginal acreage out and pay you a little money from the state to put it into habitat. But like I can't promise this yet, but I've been pretty clear. I'm like, if you've got X number of acres in there, I'm okay if you plant a food plot. Like I want people to be able to do this in a way that they utilize it on their property. But I mean, we're more interested in those 50-acre pieces, those 20-acre pieces, those 25-acre pieces that really are a great place to have habitat.
How about the access part of it?
Well, that's the different thing. We're doing some different things with e-posting right now, but I think plots is kind of, no matter, I mean, I know that if it's just mentioning plots, you could probably get everybody watching have different positions on this.
Absolutely.
But I think the unfettered access, and I do this as a landowner. I mean, nobody, my dad, my brothers, my kids, my friends, we all hunt our place south of Richardson. So if you call and ask us, we say no, because we're always there. But we have a place north of Belfield and a place down south of Reeder. And I won't put that into plots, but if you call and ask, we almost always say yes. Mm-hmm. So I think the next piece of this is some form of controlled access where, like you could say, my kids are in college, they come home opening a pheasant and they come home for deer season. But, you know, after deer season, if you want to come shoot pheasants, sure. But I want to know who's there. Right. And then, so, I mean, technology can do this, right? Like, so we say,
absolutely.
But then you can control, like, I can tell you why I don't put my stuff into plots. There's two reasons. One, because I want to know who's on my land. I just want to know.
Yep.
And two, because if my buddies are driving up for Denver and I'm going to let them stop at the slough on their way to my place, I don't want anybody hunting that slough for 5 days before they're there. I want them to have a good experience. And so I think if you can start figuring out some controlled access things and not blow up the plots program on your way into that, I think you can create better experiences for everybody. You know, there might be a guy out there that says, you know, I don't let many people hunt. But if it's a dad and a kid or a dad and his son or a dad and his daughter, and they want to come try and shoot 6 roosters, I'd love to let them on. I mean, there's ways we can do this, and I want to figure out a way in which we can make it landowner friendly.
That is something that's huge. Okay, I'm going to go through a couple of these questions, and then I'll come back to some of my own comments. Prairie PD says, is the enrolled land usable for grazing or haying at any point once they enroll it?
So that's the thing. We have to figure that out, like what the right piece is. And so the nice thing about only having 10,000 acres, because one of the other things I'm really cautious of is I want to prove concept. And I want to do it right. And so we've already, J.C. Schaefer is my deputy chief. She graduated from Plasher High School. Like she is very helpful on this stuff. So we're already trying to figure out how we do the grazing piece, but we don't have that yet. We just don't.
Like you said, it's a pilot program. And that's the thing about pilot programs. You can go in there after the first year and look at it and say, what do we need to change? Right. And especially
and
get information.
We know we got to scale it up. We know we have to scale it up for livestock. We know that. You guys who run cows, your life is just so different than even a corn farmer. And I fully recognize that, but we got to figure out what the right approach is.
I appreciate you. Scott Bolge out of South Dakota says Pheasants Forever group in South Dakota has this type of thing going on. But he says not many area farmers that he know are using it because it's Pheasants Forever. And this is a question that I had earlier. I have written down in my notes is I'm not saying, you know, so there's a lot of wildlife organizations that try to do the best they can in their mind. But in North Dakota over the last 15 years, there's been a lot of measures that you've seen some of these organizations not support the farmer and rancher very much. And there's a lot of distrust in that. This would completely give the farmers and ranchers, you're dealing with the state, you're not dealing with an agency or of any sort, or, you're dealing with game and fish and soil conservation districts. I mean, I got to run it from somewhere. I mean, now, and Pheasants Forever is actually a good example because like our local Pheasants Forever chapters in North Dakota are great.
but their national organization has really frustrated me numerous times, right? But if Pheasants Forever, if the local chapters want to come help me plant trees, I'm taking the help. But we want to design this. I mean, it is. I know there's guys listening that have been like, I've heard this all before, to some degree or another. But my whole goal on this, and by the way, if you don't trust my honesty or authenticity on it, trust the fact that I recognize 93% of North Dakota is privately owned.
Yeah.
So if I want to get the next generation of North Dakotans into duck hunting or into deer hunting or into pheasant hunting, I know that the only way that works is if that hunter who doesn't own land has a relationship with a landowner. It's the only way it works, because otherwise we're just going to lose it. And so we want this program to be user friendly for the guy who has to make a living on that piece of property 365 days a year.
All right. And the biggest thing, like you said, I want to know who's on that property. That's one of the biggest ones for me. Now, we could go into plots. I think plots could be a whole nother hour program. So one of the things I feel that in the state of North Dakota, at least over in my area, there is a little bit of trust issues with our game and fish. Not always, but there's always going to be some trust issues here and there because of certain things could be run maybe a little bit different, or what we feel might be different, but it's not necessarily the right way. Who knows, right? But do you see any issues with the game and fish being part of this, or do you recommend people go to the soil conservation district first?
Sign up for it, do all of that, but eventually somebody's got to run it, guys.
Yeah.
Like it can't be it can't be like if we don't want, I don't think anybody, with all due respect to my friends who love ducks, I don't think anybody wants Ducks Unlimited running this. I don't think we want any NGO running this. I don't think we want the feds running it. We've done all of those. Right. So, I get the game and fish stuff, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to run the program. That's why we're bringing the soil conservation districts are helpful for a lot of reasons. One, most people have better relationships with them, and two, because then we know the acreage. We know, we know where the producer can figure out where this helps him the most, or what acres are on his own property are most interesting for him or her to want to participate in the program. But eventually somebody's got to run the program. And if it's wildlife and habitat in North Dakota, it's the game and fish, and they're in my cabinet. So,
right. And like you said, too, they have all the data right there through the conservation district, too. Yeah. Now, the mayor of Mobridge chimes in. He says, for any habitat programs to work, landowners must be supported and considered first. And that's a strong sentence right there. I think that is absolutely important.
We started this with producers, and then we brought the hunting groups in. Like, we started with the producers. I don't know how you do it any other way. And I get why, people who are the most passionate about it are the people. I got a lot of buddies that live in one of our larger cities in North Dakota that have trailers full of waterfall decoys, but I gotta have the guy who's letting them set those waterfall decoys up in a stubble field be on board with the program. Absolutely. Otherwise, that's a decoy trailer to nowhere.
See, do you find it difficult to design a type of program like this where you have such vast difference from the Badlands on the western side to the Red River Valley on the eastern side? There's so many different topography that you're looking at doing this with. One of the things we were discussing this program here a couple of weeks ago with a couple of buddies of mine, and they're like, well, what if one person, because there's some big operators out there, what if one person has 10,000 acres that he wants to kind of put into this? Are you splitting it up, or can one person do it?
I'm not starting a pilot program where I take 10,000 acres in one township in southwest North Dakota and putting it all into that. That's a pretty good way to get every other township in the state to not care. Yeah, we're trying. We're going to still utilize other programs, but this is one of those ones where I want to be able to sprinkle these pockets all over the state. One of the first people to sign up is a friend of mine who's always complained to me that since I've been in government, that when you talk hunting and fishing, everything is Bismarck West. And one of the first people to sign up with for this program was, 20 miles southwest of Fargo. And figuring that out. And I'm pretty adamant. I've even told my outdoor heritage guys, I go, for 7 years, if you guys do three things, help me fund this program, plant trees, and fix boat ramps. Just do those 3 things for 7 years with outdoor heritage money. Like, I will show you that people will like what you do if you do those 3 things, because that's the other side. We still got to plant more trees.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those old tree rows, man, they're getting old, aren't they? They're wearing out.
Yeah, and I just sent Jeb Williams an article about Russian olives. BLM and some federal people have torn them all out. I shoot more birds out of Russian olives on my farm than I do out of every other tree we've planted combined. You can call it whatever you want. I can tell you this, it holds pheasant and it holds deer.
Yeah, I never understood why people are so against the Russian olive. Now it's considered a noxious weed or something, or invasive species.
I will noxiously weed plant more of them on my place because they hold pheasants and deer.
I think we have a whole bunch here. The only things that are still alive in our tree row are Russian olives on this ranch here. So,
correct.
Yeah,
that's ours too. We've tried planting everything else. Planting trees is hard.
Yeah. In certain soil, it wasn't made for trees. That's for sure. But you got little areas, little plots like this here that you put in back and forth. How has the program been going? Have you had a lot of people sign up?
Yeah, so the first round, which is only the first of 2 rounds, we had over 14,000 acres sign up, and we do a whole second round of it. So I'm really excited. I mean, I don't like to tell people no, but I like the fact that we've rolled it out in a way that there's more interest and we're going to have acreage available. And to anybody who has enrolled that might not get picked, here's why. 1, this is what we could afford to do well. And 2, I want it small enough that I can change it if my farmers and ranchers say, hey, I know what you were trying to do here, but this just doesn't work.
Right.
Then we can be flexible enough to change it before we scale it up. And before I go ask the legislature or for money, the first question I'm going to get is, what is the access part of this? So we want to be able to figure that out too.
Another comment says, I like this idea of spots all around the area. State here why. 23 acres here, 29 acres there. It will produce more critters all over the area instead of just one section of land here or one section or 2 sections here, right?
Yeah, and also it's more user-friendly for, guys, which piece of your land it doesn't matter if you're on rotation, right? I never get as many soybeans out of these 12 acres. I never get as much corn out of these 12 acres. My inputs are higher than my outputs when I plant wheat in these 12 acres. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that stuff that actually the farmer rancher is like, I would love to put these 15 acres in. I would love to put these 15 acres into this program.
You know, what's interesting nowadays in the farming, and I don't get into the farming side a whole lot, but a lot of my friends are showing me with the technology that they have, they know what area that needs to have more fertilizer, less fertilizer, where the crops are gaining the most in one field. Their software is telling them all of this. So, I mean, they can go in there and easily look and see where their production is and where the expenses far exceed what they're getting out of it and be able to enroll portions of that too.
Yeah, and for 10 years of helping my buddy guide down in Southwest, and for 25 years of helping my dad and I, try and create habitat on our own properties. I mean, this stuff works, right? Like, if you've got that tree row that's coming out of a coulee, and the first 5 acres of your field, the tip of the tree row comes into the field. You know what happens if you put those last 12 acres into that little structure at the end of that tree row. It's going to be just a honey hole for, wildlife. And you also know you're just not getting as much production out of those first 10 acres. Yeah. I mean, that's not the same everywhere, but I do this on our own stuff. I've watched it happen. You can shoot a lot of birds out of one of those little 10-acre pieces if you do it right.
No, you also said if you wanted to put food plots in this area too. So
yeah,
that's an option.
We're working through some of that. I think there's I think there's a way to do that, because that's the other thing. They need to eat. It doesn't matter what it is. And I'm not sure the state's going to pay for the food plot necessarily, but if we got somebody who's putting 30 acres at the end of a coulee into it and they want to put a 1.5 acre food plot in, I don't know why we'd tell them no. That's good for the wildlife.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's go to a text message here. I've got to pull up here. Inquiry from a Western North Dakota producer perspective. Is there anything that can be done to increase the number of elk on the landscape to increase tag numbers, hunting opportunities? Talking with Game and Fish, it sounds like the tag numbers are in line with producer depredation acceptance. I don't know if so as a producer out here, I don't know if we need to increase the number of elk because there's plenty of them in certain areas here that
I mean, so I have a long personal history with the elk thing. My dad, we used to have a property in E4. I remember in the early 90s when this all started, because of blue tongue and all of that. And all of a sudden, ranches that had never had elk on them for a day in their life had 100. You know what elk do to 3-wire barbed wire?
Yep.
Like I mean, we have about as I mean, just go look at the size of the elk that have been killed across the state of North Dakota. I think the management side of elk is a little bit. There's a ton of people who want to hunt more elk, and then there's a ton of landowners that'll tell you, yeah, we probably have the right number of elk.
Well, yeah, so, I think that one of the hardest
managing
things,
that resource is these are the definition. One of the reasons I have a soft spot in my heart for game and fish is because you put anything out on deer, elk, or moose, and you will get 350 answers as to how to absolutely solve the problem.
Yeah.
And 350 different answers how to absolutely solve the problem. And I haven't got into waterfowl yet, which is the single fastest way to get yelled at in this office.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest, hardest things for a lot of the producers, landowners in the elk areas is, we still have, we can get a gratis this and gratis that, but when it comes to elk, it's still a lottery for us. And while you see people coming through and trampling all over the place, we can't do anything about it because we don't have a tag either. And I think that's kind of a fight there.
Right. Yeah. The elk thing is set up differently because it was originally set up as a depredation thing, right? Yeah. So like in E3, you go into a landowner lottery, but you don't have to hunt your own dirt.
Correct.
Like you can hunt the whole unit. So, I mean, it really is elk is the elk permitting system is just so unique in our overall structure. And there's some of the things about it I like. There's some that I don't like, but I mean, it can be frustrating to people.
It can. And that's why I don't want their job to even think about that, Governor. I don't want to. I'll leave that to you to sit down there and talk to Jeb about those ideas. But again, we're down to the last 60 seconds here. Again, if people want information about this Governor's Legacy Soil Health and Habitat Program, where do they go?
Go to Game and Fish website. You can sign up for it right there. It'll push you to where you need to go for your particular place. Even if you're considering it, if you've got 50 acres and you're not sure you love it, put 10 in. Come and then if any of you listening are in it and we're doing something you think could be done better, let us know. But don't call and yell at us. Just please. I mean, you can. I mean, you could do that too. But let us know how you would like to see it work better. We want to build this thing right.
Right. And that's a big thing that you recognize the private landowner, and really, really do appreciate it. Governor, thank you so much. I know you got a plane to catch here and everything going on. I really do appreciate you taking time on a Saturday. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
You bet. Governor Armstrong, North Dakota, appreciate that. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another beautiful day out here in the Dakota Territory. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody. Eat some meat, drink some milk, wear wool, and support your private landowners out there. 93% of the state. Holy cow. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. All right. Thanks, stations. Appreciate you guys. And thank you all the listeners around there and viewers on YouTube. I think I got most of everything. Thanks for answering. You bet. Appreciate that here. All right. Anybody else? Anybody? Josh, I'm not sure. I have to look into the backcountry hunters. I only know what, like John Armin has told me about them. So I really don't know much about them. So I'm not going to be jumping on that one just yet. So I have no idea. I trust you guys. I really do. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. Thanks, Waylon. Yeah. Hey, it is, it's kind of cool to have the governor, right? And he actually asked me if he could come on the program. That's kind of fun every once in a while, right? Yeah. Look at me now, Mr. Heinley. Have yourself a good day, everybody. Catch you.